You are live with Dr. Chapa. Good morning, good day, whatever time you're tuned in. We are excited once again to come and hang out with you. Why? Because if you are tuned in, if you're dialed in, that means you're learning. That means you're growing. That means you're becoming more in control of that thing for which you need to control, which is your life, your health, your choices. This is the journey, guys, that we take the bull by our horns and we work out our own salvation spiritually, our own health biochemically speaking, our own mindset biophysically, getting out there and working out. If the dude don't move, the dude don't groove. Your life choices matter. I want you to feel empowered when you get off the Dr. Chapa Wellness Show to know that whatever you've been diagnosed with, whatever symptoms that you're struggling with, you don't have to live with those symptoms any longer. That's good news. And that's what I come online every week to share with each and every one of you. I got story after story after story. Sometimes I got to stop myself from telling so many dang stories. But man, when you feel good, you want other people to feel good. When you have a message of hope and healing, you want other people to have hope and healing. So you share it. You tell people about it. And so I do my very best to bring you the most up-to-date health and wellness information day in and day out. And I sit back and I think about, really, are we going to talk about acid reflux? Are we going to talk about Gerd, Gastroesophageal Reflux Disease, again? I've been talking about this for 20 years. I've been sitting in seminars and they reference this almost every time. Your digestion is key. All life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition drives it all. But if you can't digest it, you can't absorb it, you're in deep caca. Your body is going to be deficient. Your symptom patterns are going to escalate. Your body's going to run off the rails, and you're going to be on what they call the accelerated aging curve. Well, I know that's why you're tuned in. I know that's why you're here today, so that you can figure out how to get your life back on track. And that's what we're going to do together, is we're going to go down this trail talking about digestion once again in a different angle. And this isn't rocket science, guys. Every symptom pattern that you have right now is something that will reverse, especially since most of you have developed it in later stages of life. What you develop in the form of symptoms will undevelop if you stop doing the triggers that put it into position to manifest in the first place. So anything your body can develop, guys, I just want to encourage you, you can undevelop. Praise be to the Lord. Your body is designed to heal. So without further ado, we are going to jump into tonight's topic, because when people come in to see me, more and more, all the way down to the youth of our day, I am working on digestive issues day in and day out, knowing the difference in what needs to be medically treated and or what is something that you can reverse, and appreciating the journey in the process of getting well matters. I have had some patients that it did take us 6 months, 9 months, 12 months to get them off of acid reflux, proton pump inhibitors. Why? Antacids. Because they had lived on them for so long. When you live on these drugs for so long, you sabotage digestion. So now you become essentially an infant again. And it takes approximately 24 to 26 months to develop a strong digestive system for these babies coming into the world. They're putting babies today on proton pump inhibitors, acid reflux, for not GERD, not for acid reflux, but for colic, right? So you have to understand that sabotaging the stomach with a drug and turning off the very system that should be active in helping your body break down foods and maximizing your chances for absorbing nutrients in an already new body, a baby, sabotaging that process is, in my humble opinion, malpractice. So if your doctors put your baby or your grandbaby on acid reflux medications, I think that is the most barbaric thing you could do to a human, especially the babies. But it doesn't matter. By the time a 65, 70-year-old has hit the mark, their digestive stomach acid production is less than 20% of what was produced when they were in their 20s. So that means we are on this decline. But you have to ask yet a different question. Why did God put a stomach in our body that's going to wear out in our 60s and 70s and 80s to under 20% of function, when many of us would like to live fully functional in spirit, mind, and body until a ripe old age to hit the 100 mark or beyond? Science says that you could live to be 125 fully functional in spirit, mind, and body, but many people won't hit it because they can't digest their food. Oh my gosh. Is it really that simple? And the answer is yes, it's that simple. So I just want to dive in knowing that there are solutions for you and your family, for you and your grandkids, for you and your week this week coming up starting right now. We're going to dive in. So what is acid reflux? Did you know your stomach produces acid at less than 1 pH? If you put your hand in a bucket of acid at 1 pH or less, it'd probably eat it down to the bone, if not eat the bone completely off. That would be a terrible way to go, is to be boiled in acid or melt away in acid. But how? Your stomach produces this. Then when it's mixed with other digestive enzymes and other foods, it raises up to about 3 something. And here's the deal. That's still extraordinary acid. And this is why you have to understand that if God designed your body to produce acid, and then man comes along and with their good intentions and puts you on a drug to suppress the acid, you're fighting against gravity. Good luck. That is not how it was designed. You have to ask a different question. Why do you have symptoms in the first place? So acid reflux happens when the stomach contents back up into your esophagus. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a comfortable thing that you should get over it. I'm not making light of the thing. I'm suggesting that there is a check engine light in play. And if you pay attention to the check engine light, then all of a sudden you start going, wait a second, acid reflux is not a symptom that needs to be suppressed. It's an indicator light that I'm off track. So common triggers that would include large meals each and every day. How many people overconsume? We live in America. We live in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? But unfortunately, these larger overconsumable meals, these supersized meals, are also expanding, enlarging our waistline. The movie chair seats, the airplane seats, are the average size of clothes purchased for average adults has increased. It is mind-boggling how much we overconsume. You don't need any more than about 4 to 6 ounces of protein in any given meal. Now, have I eaten more than that? Of course. On carnivore, I've done 6 to 7, even 8 ounces. That was all I was eating. So then my body's just hyper-focused on one food group, essentially, the protein category. So it's more apt to break down simple, isolated macros instead of these complex meal sources where you have a protein, a carbohydrate, a fat. You see what I'm saying? So like you got to look at digestion in a way that large meal doesn't always mean bad. I would actually take this up a notch and say large meal means over-consuming a bowl of potatoes, the corn chips at the table, the tortillas that you overconsume, the amount of starch that people put in prior to the meal that swells up their stomach, and then they stack all this food on top of it. It has nowhere to go. It gets clogged up. I mean, I have an analogy in my head right now, and I want to say it, but I'm not going to. No, we're not going to go there. Anyway, spicy foods. One time, I remember I was doing this bodybuilding diet, and it was a great diet. But one of the things that my family loved the most was Saturday night, because every Saturday night I got to eat anything I wanted to eat. You know, whether it was hamburger night or Mexican food or pizza or whatever, I got to indulge in that stuff. Well, we'd always go eat Mexican food. Well, the first night that I did it, I literally had 3 bowls of hot sauce. 3 bowls of hot sauce. And listen, when you eat, even if it was fresh, which it probably wasn't like super perfect fresh, right? But let's say it was fresh, that's a lot of acid just to dump in my stomach after 2 weeks or a week of not consuming anything at that capacity of citrus. My stomach was wrecked for a day and a half. Seriously, I had acid reflux. And it wasn't because there's something wrong with my digestion. It's because I overconsumed, and then I overconsumed spicy food. Jalapenos and pasta sauces or tomato sauces. Fatty foods. How many people a day overindulge in fatty foods? Fatty foods will get you in trouble. And that's not because your stomach acid as much as it's because you have bile congestion. But if you have bile congestion, you put all that fat inside the system, it gets clogged up, backed up. The average American right now has 10 to 11 meals caked up inside of them. That's a lot of food, guys. That is a lot of old, rotting food in some cases. That could be up to 5 days worth of food stacked inside your system. No wonder we're bloated. No wonder we're gassy. No wonder we feel sluggish. Our body's working so hard to push the dam out the way so that things flow again. We need our bodies to be, digestively speaking, a manufacturing facility for neurotransmitters and B vitamins, a detox center, a digestive center, an absorption center, and an excretion center. We want to turn it into a vacuum. This is why I like intermittent fasting. People, many years ago, I was at a NASA event teaching, and they said, what do you think about intermittent fasting? I said, I love it, because when you do intermittent fasting, you're creating space for your body to clean house after the kitchen closes. So you're at nighttime, the kids want extra food, right? Nope, dinner was 2 hours ago. You're done. They go to bed hungry. They don't miss meal over time when you keep that consistency in play. So we've got to look at fatty foods. Fatty foods, not just in the fact that person's eating butter or olive oil, that's typically because they're eating oleo or processed partially hydrogenated oil or other margarine-based butter spreads, fake butter. If you can't believe it's not real butter, it ain't. And most of your restaurants, if not every restaurant, is using fake butter. And they're cooking in it, cooking in those oils. And now this fatty meal that you're consuming is a processed fatty meal that your body can't break down. That's the issue. So now we're clogging up the system and it's backing up. And by the time you go off of eating again, you still got some contents from this morning or this afternoon that you are still trying to figure out how to deal with it, and it still won't break loose. Had this guy one time swallow a grape, literally a whole grape. Grapes aren't bad. Well, they do have thin skin and a lot of pesticides, but that's the answer to a different story. But he swallows a grape, and no word of a lie, he had a literal clog in the esophagus. You can't Heimlich that. That's not in the airway, so you can't pull it out. You just got to let it ride its course. Even that he went to the ER after many hours of trying to let this pass. It would not pass. They had nothing to offer him. I mean, you could beat on the chest. It was just like perfect grape, swallowed, stuck in the esophageal tube. It wasn't going away. He wound up having to leave this retreat that we were at, and he went home and slept. Sometime during the night, it finally passed. But he was just constantly making this whoop sound for hours and hours and hours, and he called it the grapes of wrath. I thought it was great. Oh, it cracked me up. But the interesting thing is when you get things stuck in the tube, in this case it was above the stomach, he couldn't get anything down on top of it. So the pressure was so much there. But I wonder if his body had an emptiness, a vacuum sucking ability from the downstream empty bowel. Maybe he was one of the 10 to 15 meal guys that has 5 days worth of meals caked up inside of him, which I bet he did. All of a sudden, the lower system could have helped pressurize that stomach or the food contents out of the esophagus down into the stomach, and it would pass. Now, it did finally dissolve and break down, and it went away, and it was gone in a flash, and he was fine. And so it wasn't really funny. It was really more of like concerning and distracting and unnecessarily unfortunate. But life happens. Who would have thunk it? Of course, alcohol consumption. Alcohol is an irritant. Alcohol irritates the tissues. I cannot do anything to make alcohol good for people. So people that still want to consume alcohol, I still scratch my head and go, there's no way you can drink alcohol and be healthy. As much as I understand why people drink, my typical rule with alcohol is never back-to-back days, no more than twice a week, and never, ever, ever if you're having a bad day and you're trying to unwind with alcohol. If you work with those 3 rules, you will always find yourself in a better place when it comes to your consumption. I say abstinence in the realm of alcohol is best, but I can't say I've always been that guy, so I can't judge you if you do. But I have always taught those 3 rules and practices. From day one in practice, I've never had to unwind with any substance. Thank God, praise the Lord. My only number 1 vitamin is vitamin J, Jesus, and I wrap that up with some gratitude, and I pray for abundance and thankfulness that joy, Jesus on you, is all over me so that I can give to other people around me. So anyway, laying down too soon after eating. Sometimes we eat too late. I'm always amazed to see what people eat at 10 p.m. and then go to bed at 10:30. I don't even encourage people to take certain vitamins at that hour because they need to give the body time to push some of the things down into the small intestine past the stomach. So for many people, it happens once in a while, and that is not an issue. But it's these people that have this chronic issue going on. Gastroesophageal reflux disease, so we were just talking about acid reflux, but GERD occurs when acid reflux becomes essentially frequent. And this fiery picture, one of the ladies described as a fiery dragon in her chest, and she's breathing fire frequently, persistently, every day, beginning to affect your daily life, is also potentially affecting your esophagus and inflaming the esophageal tissue. That is creating a massive long-term problem. These symptoms, despite whatever lifestyle changes, don't seem to go away. And that's where this gets a little confusing, because you have to heal this. Think of having a fire. What are you going to do? Are you going to stare and watch it burn? Or are you going to start trying to put the fire out? Well, how we go about getting the fire put out is what I do for people. I want you to come in and let me start working on reducing the fire concentrate. It could be as simple as chlorophyll. Did you know chlorophyll is like a blood mucous membrane deodorant and flame retardant? It puts out fire. It's a natural painkiller. Wow. Who would have thunk it? So I use this stuff called chlorophyll pearls. I also have a chlorophyll ointment for the skin, but chlorophyll pearls that will literally help with this. I have things like herbals, chamomile, marshmallow, that will soothe this better than your Pepto, better than your Gaviscon, better than your whatever over-the-counter you're using, that simply just turns off pain receptors, doesn't fix the underlying cause. You could do all kinds of different tools like bitter herbs to help regulate gastroesophageal fire. But yes, lifestyle will work. It just oftentimes you've got to stop feeding the fire, and then you got to put the fire out, and then you got to heal the tissues and then give it time. You've got to do those things in that order in order to get these fires put out. So GERD is long-standing acid reflux left unchecked, and people feel that deep burning in their chest. I remember going to this really fancy place up in Dallas. It was a brunch, and it was fried, I don't know, spicy chicken. It was a little bit of honey, biscuit. That was something I would only imagine in a dream. It was just all this, these little waffle bites. It was gourmeted up beautiful. And this was before my carnivore days. This was before my even bodybuilding journey. This was before all that stuff. So I was way more open to trying new things. And gosh, I would probably still have a hard time walking past it because it was so beautiful. Don't you love when food is beautiful and tastes good? Well, of course this did. Well, I had a 5-hour drive home. And if I wouldn't have had chamomile marshmallow in my cup holder on the way home, in case anybody got car sick, I don't know if I'd have made it, because it hurt so bad. I breathed fire the whole way home. I can still vividly remember all the way down to the shorts, that gray and checkered shorts that I had on. I remember because I would be like, this sucks. Like, what the heck? And it was about 2.5 hours after. Now that would be more on the acid reflux zone, because it wasn't a long-standing GERD that I've been dealing with for weeks. But nonetheless, that burning in the chest is for real. Regurgitation, where you kind of spit coming back up into your throat. You feel almost like a churning inside your belly and abdomen, right below your sternum and your chest bone. You can't swallow food, even your spit, because it just burns like the dickens. And everything feels irritated and irritable, like a hangnail. You just need a pair of tweezers or something, just clippers, and clip that off. Like, nagging, irritating. If you have sour taste in your mouth, if you taste metal, if you've lost your appetite for protein, if you burp a ton. I know some of you, patient-wise, it's one of y'all's number one complaints is I burp all the time. Not that I burp all the time, that you're burping all the time and you're telling me about it. Chronic cough and hoarse. This is interesting. What's it doing? The acid is now irritating the esophageal tissue all the way as high as your vocal box. That is never good whenever you're that inflamed. But these persistent symptoms should not be ignored. You should come in and see me. I had a gal come in just this week after emailing me. Hey, do I need to keep my appointment? I've been doing so good. I feel good. I want to know what we're doing next. I told her, I said, well, now we're moving into looking at the visceral system, the organ system. We want to look at ileocecal valve. We want to look at the stomach. We want to look at the liver, the gallbladder. And we're going to start looking at specific organs and figuring out if they're out of alignment. Guess what? I can regulate or realign organs. Isn't that cool? And that's exactly what we found. And guess who has had a long-standing history of not being able to swallow vitamins, take medications, sensitive to everything, food is irritating, and she loves the air diet because air is simpler for her to digest. Not a joke. Seriously, that's what she said. Air diet. And I get it. There are probably some value and benefit. Food is number 5 on my hit list of most important, right? And so you have to understand that if you want to be healthy, you do not have to eat food as a priority. You need to breathe. Breathing is the most important thing that you do every day, every moment of every day, and hopefully involuntarily. You're not having to regulate the amount of breaths that you're consuming day in and day out. But secondarily, you need as a nutrient sleep. If you're not sleeping well because you have acid reflux, indigestion, bloating, gas, burp, all the things during the night, and you feel like you got acid just sitting on your sternum and your chest and you're coming up into your throat, that is going to be a problem long standing for you. Common foods that trigger these responses. Remember, large meals at night. We should be eating our largest meal of the day first thing in the morning. We should eat like kings and queens for breakfast, princesses and a prince for lunch, and a beggar for dinner. That is the model. Why? Your stomach is most active from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Did you know? So if your largest meal of the day is at 10 o'clock at night, you're backwards on your circadian rhythm. Your body can figure that out and work with it, but it really isn't designed to be that way. You should be going to sleep at 10 o'clock, not eating a ginormous meal. Large meals in the evening potentially create long-standing issues with acid reflux and or GERD. It was interesting. One of my friends that I, with in the past and go to seminars with often, was literally doing a short on GERD and acid reflux this week. We didn't even talk about it, which means in other states, people are suffering with reflux, indigestion, GERD, all the day long. This is a constant issue across the country. I've looked in a lot of purses over the years, not because I meant to, but it was just at my feet because I was walking around my table. I didn't want to stumble in there, and I would see that people have Pepsid AC, they have they have these different things, and I ask them, "Hey, why do you take that acid reflux medication?" "Oh, you never know what I'm going to get into." Or my husband always gets acid reflux, and I go, interesting. I have a better solution. Let's find the trigger foods and let's get them out of there. Let's give you a better stomach to digest your food. I can literally do stomach CPR. Not really, it's not CPR, but I essentially can rebuild your stomach and help those tissues come back online, and you watch. Over the course of a few months, your digestion will improve drastically. So cool. So good. And I have people every week, every day, even on their pets, come in and I adjust stomachs, livers, gallbladders, ileocecal valves, intestines in so many different ways and fashions. They walk out going, "I don't know what you did, but I feel calm, cool, and collected. How did you do that?" When you stimulate, rest, and digest, the body relaxes. So when you're stressed out, what's happening to digestion? It's less able to do its job, and so the more stress leads to more agitation, irritation. You mix that with processed food, fake food, sugar, alcohol, all the deadly 4 food additives, and you have a recipe for disaster. So this is why this is important. Fried food, just like I was getting into those fried chicken wings and waffles. Oh my gosh, I can still smell them and taste them, and wasn't worth it though. It wasn't worth it. The pain for 5.5 hours sucked. So don't overindulge. One, don't eat fried food that is laced and chalked in bad oils, and be mindful that when you mix it with bready products, it just swells and gets stuck in the body, and now you've got 5 to 15 meals, 10 to 15 meals caked up inside of you, which is 5 days. Chocolate. Most people don't really like dark chocolate or 90%, 100% chocolate. What do they like? They like milk chocolate. Sugary, junk, processed, fake chocolate. I want you to indulge in chocolate. It's one of the brain foods we teach in our programs, that when you eat a chocolate, get 80, 90, 100% cacao. Chocolate can be a benefit to the brain, but it is also on the top 6 hit list of inflammatory foods. Peanuts being number 1, soy being number 4, corn being number 3, wheat being number 2, dairy being number 1, although dairy does compete with wheat competes with dairy for number 1 slot, but the point remains. You're consuming the wrong chocolate. You have milk chocolate, fake milk, by the way, pasteurized milk, by the way, and it's a boiled, contaminated chocolate flavoring. It's not even real cacao, number 2. It's highly processed with bad sugars, and it mixed with bad oils. So essentially, you're eating fake chocolate. Make-believe food, guys, leads to one thing and one thing only, and what is it? Make-believe health. You can't do it. You got to play a different game. Over-consuming caffeine. People come in drinking pots of coffee, energy drinks all the day long. What about water? What about Ultima? What about electrolytes? What about salts? Getting those collagen powders. So many other powders you can use to give your drinks flavor and opportunity to get fluid and still get the little blood sugar hit that you're looking for and watch your body thrive. So over-consuming caffeine can get you in trouble. Caffeine dehydrates you through mineral loss. And when you lose minerals, your cells can't hold on to water in the intracellular space. Essentially, what that sets you up for is dehydration, which makes you a dry desert down in the gut lining, and your body cannot function at the way it was supposed to and designed to be functioning. Alcohol, smoking, excessive body weight, all triggers. Keeping a food and symptom journal absolutely will help you take notes on finding the triggers, finding the foods that are inflaming you. If every time you go to Aunt Sally's and y'all are eating lasagna and bread and you have reflux for 2 days or that night especially, that's an indicator. If you had a big old beautiful steak and you felt great but you're a little hot, that's an indicator, not necessarily that the steak was bad, but it could have been cooked in something, laced with something, or maybe you overindulged. We use symptoms in conversation to find out what you're eating, how much of that substance you're eating, and is it too much or is it the just flat out wrong food? Good, better, best principles matter here. Good, better, best. Let's try to use a good, better, best model. So it's not always too much acid. Oh my goodness. This would go round and round. Medicine today believes that the way you suppress acid reflux and indigestion GERD is you give them an antacid, a blocker for your acid output pumps. Many people assume heartburn always means the body's producing too much acid, but in fact, you're not producing enough acid. Chew on that a second. So what happens now is you're putting this big old meat or substance into your belly, and there's not enough resources to break it down into its constituent parts, which essentially sets you up for failure in that now you have this aggressive churning and burning, and it's tumbling and tumbling. It's like the washer's not running effectively because you put too much of cotton in there, too big of a load or an oblong load like a quilter source. So we have to understand that when we put big meals into the stomach, you better know that the quality of that food better be there. It better have some enzymes built into it, or maybe you need to add some enzymes to what you're doing. I use this stuff called Digest Force. You can go to shop.justlivewell.com and see quite a few of our different products that we have up there. But the Digest Force has stomach acids, bile salts, and enzymes, all 3 categories to maximize what you're eating, to make sure that you can break it down in the stomach, that you can break down the fats in the small intestine, and that you can absorb them in the small intestine. That way we increase our likelihood of absorbing food and nutrients, not damming up the plumbing and causing symptom patterns like reflux, indigestion, bloating, gas, etc. So in reality, reflux is often related to how the stomach contents are moving through the body. If there's a dam at mile marker 17, you got 30 feet of mile or of intestines, and at 17 feet in, you've got this block, this treacherous turn, or this irritating ulcer, or this blockade of tortillas that you ate last night because it was half off fajita night. You're setting yourself up for esophageal backlog. Things are going to back up into the esophagus because it has nowhere else to go. And it just sits there and churns and burns and churns and burns, and it starts to spill up and bubble and irritate that sphincter. And a part of that sphincter opening up shuts off stomach acid production, therefore making it all the more complex because now, but it's also trying to slow down digestion to give body time to process out the lower contents. That's why having a rhythm on when you eat, what you eat, how you eat, what you take, when you take matters. And that's why people, like all of us, need a coach in our lives. So several factors contribute to this stuff, but truly a healthy lifestyle. Is it rocket fuel that we need to eat smaller meals, that we need to avoid late night eating, that we need to make sure that we stay, or even give yourself 30 minutes to go for a walk after a meal could be really powerful. Especially if this is something that's been going on in your life a long time. You got to reprogram your body and build in new habits and lifestyles. Healthy weight exercise regimes. Identifying what trigger foods. I already told you, wheat, dairy, corn, and soy, peanuts, chocolate, top 6 most common foods that people eat. And then high fructose corn syrup, margarine spreads for fake butter, these fake oils that people use, vegetable oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil, no good, never will be. It is con oils. These are bad and inflammatory to the nth degree. MSG, monosodium glutamate, another contaminant, of course, red number 5. Heck, all the dyes are potentially problematic chemical programs that indicate that you're eating processed fake food. And when you eat processed fake food, what are you getting? Make-believe health. We don't want that for you. We want better for you. And then artificial sugars, the pink stuff, the yellow stuff, and the blue stuff at your dining tables in most countries. This is huge, man. If you get some of this stuff right, when to think, do I even need medical care? Because if you have these symptoms and you're a young dude like this, you need to go, what am I eating that could be contributing? There's nothing wrong with my stomach, but I've had belly pain since I've been 12 years old. That's because you've been eating ramen noodles, man. That's because you've been eating fake peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That's because you've been eating pudding snacks. You're eating all this fake food. I know, now the wheels are turning. You're thinking to yourself, I have been. So the real question is do you need medical care, or do you need me to adjust your stomach? Do you need me to reset your ileocecal valve? Do you need to get on one of my nutrition programs? Do you need me to evaluate your food log? Do you need me to look at your buffering systems? Yes. That's what I want you to do. So when do you seek medical care? When I tell you that I can't fix your issue. I'm telling you, if you come in and you do 70% of what I ask you to do, you will not need a pepsid or a peptic acid reducer, a proton pump inhibitor. So come talk to me. Let me teach you why your body's breaking down, why you can't swallow, why you have reflux indigestion, why you have bloat, why you burp, why you have persistent issue that indicate acid reflux indigestion. But let me remind you, you did not develop this overnight. It's not going to go away overnight. Is it going to help when I clean up your diet? Of course it's going to. But are you going to have to do some other things in addition to? Of course you're going to have to. And you're going to have to give it a little bit more time than you realize or want to. That's just the nature of the beast, because inflammation has to come down, restoration, repair has to occur, and then healing and time of function turning back on begin to happen more naturally. When you follow my 3-step program, this starts to resolve itself easily, effortlessly. So I just want to get in the boat with you and support your digestive system, because one of my mentors, 2 of my mentors, if not all of my mentors, would all agree the one thing that we get right through healthy lifestyles, through good exercise and motion, good hydration, is to maximize the digestive function of a human body. The more functionally well you are digestively speaking, the healthier you are as a human, the better your sleep and recovery, the better your blood pressure, the better your cholesterol, the better your lifespan, your energy, your vim, vigor, and vip. That's exciting. And I want you to enjoy all aspects of good health. Whole food nutrition matters. Good hydration matters. Management of stress matters. Regular physical activity matter. And consistent sleep matter. Good digestion health starts with daily habits. I love the book by Tom Cooley, Change Your Habits, Change Your Life. He talks about some of this stuff. And he's not even a dietitian. He's not even a doctor. He's not even a nutritionist. What has he figured out? Daily habits practiced regularly maximize the overall health and wellness curve for people. Get enrolled in your health. Choose to live your best. Be your best. Stay your best day in and day out. Don't ignore it. Come see me. I have people come in weekly, every couple weeks, every month, every 6 weeks, every quarter to make sure that their stomach is aligned and working in proper working order. The better the digestion, the better the liver, the better the gallbladder, the better the valves, the healthier the human. If it's persistent, come and see us. JustLiveWell.com. Let us teach you how to live your best, be your best, stay your best day in and day out. You will be thankful. Okay? So, till next time, we have more to share with you. To learn about whole body wellness, understanding digestion one piece long-term at a time, discovering practical methods to live your best day in and day out, come see us at justlivewell.com, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. We're here to make your life better, functional, metabolically fiery, and a healthy hormonal aging program that helps you live your best, stay your best day in and day out. We've got you covered from inside out. We've got all kinds of takeaways that we can share with you in the office, out of the office, to teach you how to live your best, stay your best, and be your best. And we want to thank you for staying tuned in and getting enrolled in our other online programs. Like, share. We thank you for supporting us. One of the best compliments you'll ever do for us is to share this message with your friends, family, and loved ones. Guys, thank you so much for participating in the Dr. Chapa Wellness Show each and every week. I love being a part of it with you. I look forward to this. I look forward to seeing people share stories with me about how they're living better day in and day out. So without further ado, live long and prosper. And remember, Dr. Chapa.